Working for Amazon delivery, you see a lot of wild things. I've had dogs chase me, people greet me in barely their bathrobes, story one, and a few awkward encounters with porch cameras. But nothing could have prepared me for the day I met Jimmy. It was a regular route, one of those cookie-cutter suburban neighborhoods where every house has the same front porch decor and immaculately trimmed hedges. I had 3 deliveries in this area, and I knocked them out back to back. As I was getting back into my van, I noticed a car coming up behind me, fast. It screeched to a stop inches from my bumper, and the driver leaned on the horn, hand flailing out the window like a madman. I thought maybe he just wanted to pass, so I pulled over. But instead of driving by, he jumped out of his car and stormed over to my van, his face twisted in anger. The guy was about my age, maybe mid-30s, wearing a stained t-shirt and jeans. He looked like he'd had a rough night. Before I could say anything, he started yelling. "Where's my package?" he demanded, his voice already edging on a scream. I was expecting a delivery today, and I haven't gotten it yet. I tried to keep my cool, even though he'd caught me off guard. "All right, can you tell me your name and address?" I asked, thinking I could double-check my deliveries list. He threw his hands up in frustration. "Jimmy, my name's fucking Jimmy, and I want my package!" I explained to him that I'd only delivered to 3 addresses in the neighborhood and listed them. "So what? You just house?" He sneered, his eyes practically boring holes through me. "You probably took it for yourself. You're just a thief with a uniform." At this point, I was starting to get nervous. This wasn't just a guy with a short temper. He seemed genuinely unhinged. On vans driving around the neighborhood. It was a big route, and packages were coming in from multiple vans. I tried to explain that to him. "Look," I said, keeping my voice calm, "it's possible one of the other drivers has it. Sometimes different drivers get assigned packages for the same neighborhood." He didn't even let me finish. "So now you're lying to cover up that you stole it?" His face was inches from mine, and his voice had dropped to a threatening whisper. Then, before I could react, he grabbed my shirt and shoved me back against the side of my van. I felt a cold wave of fear roll through me. I'd heard stories about delivery drivers getting assaulted, but I never thought it'd happened to me. And then, in the middle of his rant, there was a ding from his pocket. He froze, his hand still twisted in my shirt. He fished his phone out, and his eyes scanned the screen. His face went from furious to confused as he read the notification. "Your package was just delivered," it said, and it even had a photo of it sitting on his front porch. One of the other drivers must have dropped it off while he was busy screaming at me. The realization dawned on him, and he looked back up at me, embarrassed but still angry. "Why didn't you just fucking tell me someone else might have it?" He spat, like it was somehow my fault. Then out of nowhere, he slammed his fist into the side of my van, leaving a dent the size of a baseball. I just stood there, shocked and honestly a bit relieved. I knew our vans had video recorders that captured everything, so I wasn't worried about proving what had happened. The second he drove off, I called the cops. I gave them the video footage and filed a report for assault. They ended up tracking him down, and last I heard, he actually did some time for it. I guess they don't take lightly to assaulting delivery drivers, even if it's just a package. Now every time I see a car creeping up on me from behind, I get this flashback to that day. It's a crazy world out there, and it's getting crazier by the minute. And for anyone who thinks being a delivery driver is all sunshine and smiles, just remember, sometimes the package isn't the only thing that needs delivering. Story 2. So last Christmas season, I picked up a part-time gig delivering for Amazon. You know, holiday bills, Christmas gifts. Figured the extra cash would help. The work was, well, intense. They had us out all hours, and some of the places I delivered to were straight up bizarre, especially after dark. But I needed the money, so I powered through. One night, about a week before Christmas, I got a delivery out in the boonies. This place was buried in the woods, barely a road to speak of. No neighbors, no streetlights. Just dense trees all around, and the kind of quiet that makes you feel like you're intruding. I thought it was just going to be a quick drop, one small package, no signature needed, so in and out. When I finally found the place, it looked even creepier than I'd imagined. The house was old and kind of lopsided, like it'd been there forever. All the lights were off. It was so dark I had to squint just to make out the number on the mailbox. As I pulled up, I remember thinking, just drop it and go. I grabbed the package, made my way to the front door, and knocked. Silence. Not a creak, not a sound. Figuring maybe no one was home, I pulled out my phone to snap the photo Amazon requires for proof of delivery. As I lowered my phone, I noticed something in my peripheral vision. There was a light on now in an upstairs window, and someone was standing there, just staring down at me. I kind of gave a small wave like, hey, it's just Amazon, no big deal. But they didn't move, just stood there. I couldn't make out their face, just the outline. It looked like an older person, maybe. But honestly, the longer they stared, the less sure I was. Starting to feel uncomfortable, I took a step back, keeping my eyes on the window. Then, I saw a light turn on in the window right next to the door, only a few feet from where I was standing. Another person was there, watching me. And just like the one upstairs, they didn't move a muscle. No wave, no smile, just staring. At this point, every instinct was screaming at me to leave. My skin was crawling, but I was trying to keep it cool, like maybe this was just some awkward family who didn't know how to react to delivery people. I took another step back, about to turn and head to my van, when suddenly both lights snapped off. Just darkness, like they'd never been on at all. But that's when I heard it, the sound of running, like people sprinting through the house. Heavy, frantic footsteps going room to room, back and forth. It was loud, like there were at least 10 people in there. My heart was pounding, and I knew this was my cue to get the hell out. But just as I turned to leave, I heard the front door creak open behind me. I froze for a split second, enough to glance over my shoulder. The door was only cracked open, but no one was there. Just darkness inside. At that point, I was done. I sprinted back to the van, threw myself in, and floored it down that gravel road, rocks flying as I tried to get distance between me and that house. As I drove, I looked back in the rearview mirror, and what I saw nearly made me slam on the brakes. Every single window in that house was lit up, glowing bright in the pitch-black night. And I swear, I saw shadows moving in each one, like they were watching me leave, every single one of them. I never figured out what was going on in that house, and honestly, I don't want to know. All I know is, I flagged that address in the Amazon system so I'd never have to go back there again. If anyone else had to make a delivery out there, it wasn't going to be me. And that's the story of the last time I ever did a late-night delivery for Amazon. Story 3, yesterday was one of the strangest and creepiest days I've ever had working for Amazon. I deliver packages for a living, so weird drop-offs aren't totally new to me, but this one felt wrong from the start. I just finished a delivery when the app directed me to an address about 5 minutes down a narrow dirt road, tucked away in the woods off the main road. It was already getting dark, and the further I drove, the thicker the trees got, closing in around the car. My headlights were the only source of light as I bumped along the uneven path, wondering what kind of person would live all the way out here. Eventually, I pulled up to what looked like a rundown house. Paint was peeling off the siding, a couple of windows were boarded up, and the front porch sagged like it hadn't seen upkeep in years. But the first thing I noticed wasn't the house. Right in front of the porch, almost blocking the stairs, was this angel statue, around 4 or 5 feet tall. Its hands covered its face like it was crying, and the stone was a weathered, dirty white that looked almost gray in the dim light. Something about that statue immediately set me on edge. I couldn't explain it, but I got this overwhelming feeling of discomfort, like I was being watched, or worse, like something was waiting for me. The air felt heavy, almost like a physical weight pressing down on my chest. I've seen creepy statues before, sure, but this one had a presence. I swear it felt like it radiated anger or hatred, directed straight at me. I wasn't getting out of my car, so I drove back down the dirt road to the front gate and tried to mark the delivery as undeliverable. My logic was simple. The house looked abandoned, and I didn't feel safe getting out with that statue just sitting there. But when I tried to move on to my next delivery, the app flagged me as too far from the drop-off point to swipe complete. Basically, It was forcing me to go back. I was frustrated and a little freaked out, but I figured if I could just pull up close enough to swipe and move on, I'd be fine. I drove back up the road to the house, all the while feeling like I was heading into something I shouldn't be messing with. As I approached, I noticed right away that something was off. The statue was gone. I scanned the area, thinking maybe I'd somehow missed it, or maybe it was just the darkness playing tricks on me. But no, the porch was empty. The statue, that weird crying angel, had vanished, and I had no clue where it could have gone. I knew I hadn't seen anyone around. No lights in the house, no other cars, just silence and shadows. I didn't want to think about who or what might have moved it. All I wanted was to finish the delivery and get out of there, so I swiped complete on the app as fast as I could and turned the car around. I didn't look back. I just drove, faster than I should have on that narrow road, but I didn't care. I wanted to put as much distance between me and that place as possible. The whole way back to the main road, I kept checking my mirrors, half expecting to see that statue somehow behind me or even standing on the side of the road. I felt jumpy, like something was watching me, even after I was miles away. Since then, I haven't been able to shake that feeling. I've gone over it again and again in my head, trying to find a logical explanation. Maybe someone was messing with me, or maybe it was just my mind playing tricks. But the way that statue seemed to radiate something, anger, malice, I don't know. It felt real. And the fact that it disappeared like that just doesn't sit right with me. I don't scare easily, but this whole experience has me spooked. I keep wondering if I'll see it again somewhere down the line on one of my routes, just waiting by the side of the road. I've never felt the need to share something like this before, but honestly, I just needed to tell someone. So yeah, that's my story. Thanks for reading, and maybe keep an eye out if you're ever on an isolated road at night.